It's not very often that I will make a build video. Um, Not the type of person to do that. I feel like most Warframe YouTubers are stuck in this loop where they need to make the next big build every week. I can only imagine that that becomes exhausting and that becomes a job. And I like this game and I don't want to turn it into a job. That being said, once in a while I do find a build that I find extremely fun, that I have fun with personally, and I want you to have fun with this game because the more people have fun with this game, the more people play this game, the longer this game survives and thrives. Simple. It is a way of contributing to something that I enjoy. Voruna has become my favorite melee warframe. And that's a pretty bold statement because Excalibur is my second most used warframe. And he's no longer my favorite melee frame. Now, before we go into the build, I want to talk about the fact that this is an advanced player's guide. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that as a new player you should be able to play this build anytime soon. I find that very disingenuous when a Warframe YouTuber goes, "Oh, you need to get this prime weapon or this mod," and it's a significantly rare weapon or mod that would take a significant amount of time and resources in order to acquire. So if you're a beginner player, save this video, screenshot the builds, do whatever, come back in a few years when you have the resources necessary in order to make a build like this. Let's get started with her Archon Shards. Now, health orb effectiveness, always nice. Health pickups, 20% energy. Health energy pickups, 20% health. This has replaced equilibrium for me on a lot of Warframes that I play, including my main mag. Toxin status effects deal 30% more damage. It's nice. 2% health regen every time enemies are damaged by toxin status. And then 10% ability damage on enemies affected by radiation. This one here can really just be any Archon shard. I put this on here because I noticed for whatever reason at one point I was proccing a lot of radiation. Now, the main star of this build is Fangs of Rakesh. 5 random status effects are applied at 10 stacks on each enemy. Lycan's Hunt is also fantastic because it allows you to produce your own energy orbs and your own health orbs, which in turn supplements your Violet Archon shard. Shouted Dinar, it's actually really useful for this little meta game that we're going to be enjoying playing this Warframe. Ulfrin's Descent is also really nice if you like it. I can go without it. If you're going to hem with any ability, I recommend this one. You can put Roar, Breach Surge, Nourish, and what is that one? Eclipse. Those are my recommendations. Now for the Voruna build. And like I said, guys, this is not a beginner's guide. A lot of these mods take significant investment and significant endo. First thing you notice while looking at this is I have all the Archon mods on here. And that's because of the random status effects of her second ability. We are also running health conversion because she produces her own health orbs, and adaptation for tankiness. This Amara's Hatred here, this is a flex slot. You can put anything you want on here. I recommend Rage, and I also recommend Ulfrin's Descent. It's a really nice mod. The reason that I don't have it is just because I feel like it locks me into a certain play style, and I'm not about that. Arcane Blessing, really nice. Came out with Voruna. She can make her own health orbs, like I said. But feel free to put a Grace here or a Guardian. Arcane Eruption. And like I said way back in my mag build, Arcane Eruption is one of the most slept on arcanes in this game. It's fantastic and I love it. Now, on energy pickup, 100% chance to knock down nearby enemies. That's free crowd control. And she creates her own energy orbs. Now you notice that I'm running mechas. Mecha empowered, mecha pulse. Very slept on set of mods. Now, the Daikyu build does not matter. You can have anything here, but you need to have Amalgam Daikyu target acquired. And that's because of the 3% lifesteal on Nikanas. Now I'm running my favorite Nikana, the Skajati, but you can run any Nikana you want. I know the Skajati is no longer the best Nikana in the game, but it's the one I like the most. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that my Nikana build is typical, because I have a really good Riven mod for it. So, the main player here is Condition Overload, because Voruna makes 5 random status effects on enemies. I went ahead and modded for Toxin in order to supplement our green Archon shards. Also, melee exposure is really nice because it gives you free corrosive. And with this build, you're going to be spamming a lot of abilities. It doesn't matter if you have a rank 1 melee exposure or a rank 5. You will always be at 240. And like I said, I got a really good Riven for the Skajati. But as long as you're using a Nikana and you have a Condition Overload build on it, a solid one, this should still work. As far as secondary, run whatever you like, but make sure you have Cascadia Flare, because it's only going to make your heat status effects that much better. Recommendation is also Cascadia Empowered and Secondary Encumber. But in my play testing, I was not able to really determine whether these guys were proccing or not on anything other than Secondary Fire, while Cascadia Flare will proc on Primary Fire, Melee, and abilities. Now, I'm sure you've noticed that we're not running any viral anywhere, and that's because we're running a Predacyte, and he's going to spread viral for us. And why are we running a Predacyte instead of a Panzer Wolfophyla or Slide Wolfophyla, whichever one? It's because of the mecha set. The mecha set is the important thing about this build. And like I said, he's going to be spreading viral for us. Para and Prac Leader is really nice, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it's super easy to get. So a pack leader should do fine. Now, before I go and test, I do want to propose an alternative. If you don't want to run this build, then I suppose you should run something that can spread and prep enemies, like the Ceto, and then your favorite melee weapon with Condition Overload and a healing return. This is the Twin Croakers. This is the build that I was using before I switched to the Daikyu Skajati setup. Honestly, if I didn't have that Skajati Riven mod, I probably would still be running this configuration. Now, the gameplay loop here is that you're going to hit your 3, and then your 1, and then the 1 mitigates the weakness of the mecha set. It gives you the time to hunt for the mark, and there it is. I really should be running a Prime Share footage, shouldn't I? But you see that? That's really strong. Now, for the sake of testing, I'm going to pause the AI. So, like I said, the mecha set procs every 15 seconds. Your first ability lasts 21, which gives you plenty of time to sit here and wait for the mark to show up. Now, necessarily, if you miss the mark and you get the guy next to the mark, you should still be able to get him because of how her 2 works. But the main weakness of her 2 is that it only spreads those 5 initial status effects. It doesn't spread the weapon status effects that you put on with your Skajati or whatever melee weapon that you're using, or your primary for that matter. And that's why you should always just take the time to find your marked target and get them.
Failure. Success.
That's more like it. But yeah, that's about it, guys. This build is a lot of fun. There's a few different ways you can play it. I highly recommend it. Thank you.